Rosanna, while New York State fights its budget battle, regional governments are facing their own cash crisis. Westchester County is facing a $166 million budget deficit. County Executive Rob Astorino has to balance that budget. I think it's a requirement of your job. Yeah. First of all, Mr. Astorino, welcome to Good Day New York.
Thank you, Greg.
You are in office how long?
6 months.
And before that, what did you do for a living?
I actually worked at Sirius XM Satellite Radio.
You're radio, an executive in radio for how long?
Before that, I was at ESPN Radio, 1050 ESPN here in Manhattan. So, and I did TV work. I've been in your seat.
And now you've got a very big administrative job. How many folks work for you? We
have 5,600 employees in Westchester County, a budget approaching $2 billion, so it's a lot.
All right, $166 million budget deficit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. How are you going to make up for it?
That's a lot. You know, we've got to really cut costs immediately. Westchester is the highest tax county in America 2 years in a row. Not a badge of honor. We got to get out of that running. So we've really got to make structural changes to the way we operate. The spending was crazy for a decade. You know, it was the golden decade of just say yes. We've got to say no, which isn't always popular, but it's really the right thing we've got to do. We're reducing the workforce through incentives, and that's a big thing. But we've got some really bad costs. Pension costs are out of control. That's a state issue that they send down to the counties and municipalities that we're trying to deal with. We have a $55 million cost for pensions today. That's going to be $118 million in 3 years. That's not even touching a program or a service. So these are things we've got to tackle. Health insurance, county employees don't pay a dime. One thing that we did is non-union, because that's all we can control right now, non-contractual, are going to start paying, including myself, for health care costs. But those are out of control, and we've got to start tackling them.
How do you cope with that? A lot of these things, as you mentioned, state mandates, state policy. You are, I guess, de facto powerless, but you do have a pulpit. I mean, how are you going to make these changes?
Well, part of them are contractual, and we're dealing with our unions right now. We're asking them to be part of the problem. If we're going to get rid of a $166 million deficit, we could do it two easy ways: 1,600 layoffs or a 30% tax increase. Well, I've already said we're not increasing taxes anymore. We're going to submit a balanced budget in November with no tax increase, so we got to work backwards from that, and that's changing a mindset as well. And the unions and the employees have to be part of the problem. They have to be part of the solution, and we've asked them to do that. And we're hoping that they do, so there'll be minimal layoffs. 5,600
employees, is that what you said? How many of them would you say are not required anymore?
Well, we already shed the workforce by about 6% with a retirement incentive that's coming up. Could make it even 10%, but the 6% so far has been basically with a county incentive program to pay them to leave, and they're doing that. And that's not always easy, but you know what? We can do a lot more with a lot less, and that's one of the things we've got to do. It's really It's changing what has been going on forever in Westchester and really in New York State. I mean, you look at what's going on in Albany, it's an embarrassment, it's a cesspool, and that's got to be changed as well.
Vital link for your county, the Tappan Zee Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
It's how old? Like 60 years
55,
old? 55 years old, all right.
Yeah.
It's in need of, is it going to be refurbished or replaced?
The plan is to replace it, but they've refurbished the bridge. 96% of the bridge has been patched up. It's like a Mr. Potato Head. But it's going to be $16 billion to replace it, and the state, of course, has not set aside a dime.
And you'd like to, obviously...
Well, they've got to replace it. As far as I'm told, just don't drive in the right lane. You're okay right now. Okay. No, I'm kidding.
All right, Rob Astorino, thank you very much. Westchester County Executive, nice to meet you. All right, Rosanna, over to you.
Okay.